Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Let's make sure you all can hear me. If you please type the number 1 in the chat box, let me know that you can. I would greatly appreciate it. Afternoon, Brenda. Hey, Andres. Helen, good morning. Hey, Alex. Lots of ones in there. Thank you, everybody. Very much appreciated. As we get started, keep in mind that everything we look at is for education. Nothing is meant to be advice or recommendations. If you find something that you like, anything, make sure it fits your own personal risk profile and risk tolerance. All right. So we've got our agenda today is our follow us page. We're going to go into today's trade. So get your trades ready that you've done today over the last couple of days. Win, lose, draw doesn't matter. Funded, not funded. As far as I'm concerned, they're all non-funded. This is all about accountability and all about putting it out to the universe, whatever your belief system is, but putting it out there that you're getting it done, right? What's on top of mind is what we succeed at. Economic reports, market review, then upcoming trainings. We'll look at the weekly training topic and then your review of stocks at the very end. Yep, I appreciate that, Andrew. Thank you for that. Let's go ahead and get that camera rolling. My systems give me a hard time today. I can't even get my drawing tools to work properly today. All right, there we go. All right, so here's our follow-us page, guys. Again, there's a lot of content that we put out every single week. Make sure you check it out. You don't have to follow along with all of them, but you certainly are going to want to follow along with a couple, right? So we see, hundreds of downloads every week of our podcasts, which is the Stock Market Millionaire, and the likes. So just go ahead and check them out, whichever one works best for you. All right, today's trades. What trades did y'all do today? Trip dropped in his first ones already today. So you guys drop your trades in. What did you do? Put them in the text chat. Doesn't have to be today. Maybe you did it on Thursday or Friday. Maybe it's still open. That's okay. What are you up to right now? Trip's got 2 scalps this morning. NVIDIA for the cost of 3.8%, and Micron for a profit of 12.4%. There you go. So take the 4 away from the 12. You're still up 8% for the day. So not a bad day overall. 8% for the day. That's what your bank normally pays, right, Trip? Oh, wait, it wasn't really for a day, was it? It's 12 o'clock. My guess is you were over by 10 or 10:30, maybe 11. Go ahead and compound that sucker out and see how that does. 5 minutes each, Trip said. Here we go. Alex had caught a switchback on IBM. I love it. 11% for $420. Nice. Again, everything is non-funded, folks. Everything you look at is non-funded. Here, let me share this. So trading today is non-existent, period. We are getting ready for my mother-in-law to move into an assisted living facility, and that's what this whole weekend/week is going to be about. So that's what my wife took the day off today, and we spent some time working on some paperwork that had to get done for her. So no trades today for me, but these were all from the end of last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll do the Friday and Monday ones, of course, tonight on Power Option Plays. So Chipotle Mexican Grill, we got in at 52.25, and we got out at 52. So we're underwater. It's one contract. We're underwater $19.50. CrowdStrike, we got in at 429. One contract. Just ignore the 10s, guys. This is just the way the spreadsheet was created. It's the stop that really matters, which was 1. So we're up $624, which is our best trade of all of them from last week, the end of last week. Goldman Sachs, we got in at 615. We got out at 616, so we're up $78. Home Depot, well, we got in both days. We got on the 14th and the 15th at 374. We got at 3, and this was, the first one was bullish, right? So we got at 372.75. We're down 97.5. And then the second one, same bounce, same everything. This one worked in our favor, in at 374 out of 378.5. We're up $351. Welcome page still on. I'm not sure. Guys, give me a 1 if you're able to see my spreadsheet. Okay. Not sure what's going on there, Helen. You may have it on a different screen or something. I don't know. Andrew, can you see if you can help Helen out there? Thank you, everybody, for that. Very much appreciated. Brenda said a 0.04% profit on Friday. So it's a profit, right? So I love it. Jennifer said, I'm still in a few trades. MSTR, Coinbase, currently about $1,200. Nice. But down Goldman Sachs, $1,700. Right. Sorry about that one. That's a big deal / transition. Pray it all goes well for you, and especially if you, oh, okay. For some reason, I thought we were going back to your trades there, Jennifer, but I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It is. It's a lot. But there's a book out there, guys, that Tony Robbins and Peter Diamandis wrote called Life Force. If y'all have not read it, you're nuts, in my opinion. That thing has absolutely changed my life. I played a section of it for my wife today, and it said, these are the things you can do to help prevent dementia. It's been proven percentage-wise what it does, and there were 12 easy things that you could, 40% chance of you preventing dementia. And the very first of the top 5, my mother-in-law's got 4. Doesn't wear a hearing aid, although she should. He's pretty much shut off from the rest of the world, blah, 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 right? But each of those were 4, 5, 6% each. So about 20% of the chance of cutting back just on those 4 or 5 items, right? So it's a great book. You really should check it out, guys. I am just blessed that I have found that it has made such a difference in my life. I look at all my test results, all of my blood works and all of that, and I'm seeing massive change from 6 months ago in my numbers. So for me, happy camper. Let's see. Okay. Got it when it came out. Yeah. And listen, the bottom line of it is every penny of it, Tony Robbins donates to other organizations, other healthcare people that are in, smaller businesses that are trying to grow and so forth. The FDA just approved the blood test for Alzheimer's last week. There you go. One of the tests that I just recently took, and I took it through Tony Robbins' organization, was for cancers, and it tests you for 50 different cancers and tells you early detection signs and what the percentage of the cancer accuracy of that test. And none of mine came back as concern whatsoever. So I'm a happy camper, right? But there's so much coming out now. Guys, they say if by 2030, if you are of reasonable health and reasonable means, there's no reason 100 will not be your new live to date. They're expecting, we've already seen born the first person that will live to 150. They've already been born. Good, Helen. Glad you got it fixed. Prevention is the best thing. You got it. Yeah, check in on his and John S. Raff's Facebook every day. There you go. And it's pretty cool, guys. There's so much that you could do out there. I mean, I just turned my cousin onto it. I sent her a copy of the book because of some things that she has with her. So there's a lot that you can do now. All right, we're getting off a little bit. Sorry about that. Got the book, started reading it today. Good for you, Tom. It's just, I did the book and the Audible. I play mine at 1.7 speed on the Audible. I listen to it while I'm at the gym, so I get about an hour and a quarter, an hour and a half, 3 or 4 days a week. I try to listen to it while I'm on my bike, but that's only an 8-minute ride, so you don't get a whole lot in there. Health versus wealth, we need both. Yeah, the problem is if you don't take care of your health, you will not have any wealth, right? It'll all be gone. Let's see. The title again is Life Force by Tony Robbins. It's his most recent. I'm pretty sure it's the most recent book. Maybe he had a finance book come out after it. Maybe. But Life Force, the only health one they've ever done. It's probably 700 pages. It's just, and again, I like Audible, but man, I can't do this on just Audible. I got to come home. I write notes at the gym and I come home and I read it in the book because I want to get the exact test names and all of that. So, all right. So guys, we killed it last week. For the year, we're up $74,666. Not a fan of that number. We did 153 trades. Yes, 153 lines, but the first 3 lines are header. Okay. So we got 153 trades. So if we take, where will it open? Behind my text chat, of course. And put that back. If we take 73,730. Hold on. Nope, it's the wrong number because that's only what's on that page. So we take 74,666 and divide it by 153. We said that's $488 per trade on average in our list here. All right. And these are all one contract trades. The whole reason I do one contract here is to show that you do not need to have big lots of money and big amounts of money and big accounts, and you don't need that. But might there be some stocks you can't do? Might you look at CrowdStrike and go, yeah, that's too expensive. I can't trade that one. Maybe it's very possible, right? but can you trade a Chipotle? Yep. Can you trade a Goldman Sachs? Maybe not on a Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Home Depot, maybe not a Monday, maybe not a Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. See what I'm saying? You can still trade these. You don't have to trade it every day, right? Yeah, Trip, it is Life Force, right? I'm not messing up the name. I'm getting a couple of different questions on it, and I'm like, wait, am I giving the wrong name? Yeah, that's it right there, guys. Look at that. $5.31 you could buy it used for. Go for it, right? Let's see how long it lasts. 486 on eBay. Woo! Right? Yeah, this is it, guys. That's what the book looks like, right? And if you're a Tony Robbins fan, you will find out some of the struggles that he has gone through in his life in there, which is encouraging of what he's been able to accomplish. So, all right, beautiful. Thanks for that, Trip. Okay, good. Bueno. All right, let's go back into here. Economic reports. Ironically, I already had them on the screen. We got nothing today. We got nothing tomorrow. We got nothing Wednesday. I don't know if there's something going on Forex Factory and it's wrong because I haven't compared it anywhere else. But we do have Thursday coming up. There's an 8:30 report, which is unemployment. Big report for the Fed, right? PMI 945. And you see two PMI reports. They're the same report. They just break it out into different data. That's all it is. But PMI, Purchasing Managers Index, is a big report. Okay. And then at 10 o'clock, we've got existing home sales. I am not expecting a lot from existing home sales. I'm just not. Rates have not come down or gone up. If either way, I think it'll affect recent home sales. There are some big real estate gurus out there that are calling for a crash in real estate prices, which I personally am okay with, since right now I am getting ready to pick up quite a few pieces of real estate. I'm working with a company right now out of state that is working on getting me the videos and all of that stuff that I need to buy them, so I can analyze the properties and make the decision. So I'm real excited about what's going on in the markets, but I don't think housing prices is going to change much from existing home sales. I don't think you're going to have a lot of effect on the market. But understand, it is a report, and even a bad report, a bad number could have an effect on the overall market. So just know that going in, especially if you're trading like a Pulte Homes or something like that. You could, if you're on the wrong side of it when that announcement comes out, meaning the announcement didn't go your way, it could affect your trade. We got nothing. We got Friday is new home sales. Again, I don't expect a whole lot there. And then Sunday, is that Sunday? Sunday, Fed Chair Powell speaks. I don't know where he is on Sunday at 2:40 p.m. Once again, I'm just wondering the accuracy of what they've got on here. I don't know. A lot of meetings next week, but full week, nothing on Monday, and then Tuesday through Friday was good. So, okay, let's go back in. Let's see what's going on. Market review. Let's take a look at what the market is doing. My best impression of a Boston accent. All right, let's see. Jim said, you add the yellow folder to the filter Forex calendar, you'll see a lot of FOMC members talking. Oh, yeah, I bet you will. That's a valid point, Jim, since there's not a whole lot else out there. Why not, right? Let's do that. So what Jim's saying is if you go ahead and add yellow, I don't have yellow highlighted. Yellow is just a low importance, right? And a lot, wow. They're all out there talking. I wonder if any of them are talking against Powell, right? Yeah, lots of it. G7 meeting, which I don't really care about, but and I don't care your political affiliation. I don't care who you like or dislike. If you are the person that prays for others, and make sure you're doing so for Biden with what he's going through right now for him and his family, because that is not cool what he's got to deal with. Okay, so let's take that down. And it made me think of it when I saw G7. So, guys, look at the S&P 500. I do not have a place to draw a new fib yet. We're getting a little bit of a pullback here, but you cannot, and this is a good fib lesson, you cannot look at this pullback in here and say, oh, that's the place to redraw. It's not. That's not really a pullback. We gapped down slightly today and ran up. If I can get down near the 8 moving average today, tomorrow, whatever it is, that would be great. If I could pull all the way back to the 1 and bounce, that would be even better. But the 8 would give me exactly what I need, right? We're not seeing, here's the thing, we're not seeing big days right now. And I am okay with that. The big days, when you go back over here, these big days were big gaps, gap down and run up, give back a lot at the end of the day, close where we opened the previous day. I mean, yeah, close where we closed today, where we closed the previous day, right? Then we gap down again, gap up again. We run down, we gap down a little bit, biggest candle up, right? We're just all over the place. This is more of good news with tariffs, good news with investments from the Middle East, good news with what's going on with nuclear weapons in the Middle East and banding together and yada, 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 right? U.S. hostages getting released, whatever it is, all this stuff happening. And we get this gap up and then the comfort level sets in. It's not the, where we're just rocking and rolling in there. And I don't want that. I want this very slow, methodical meander. Straight up is normally straight down. I don't need that. I would rather see this type of market. You got to move up. I mean, you look at last week here. This was where I'm at now is Monday, right? We closed at a high on Monday, recent high, right? Comparative to the previous day. Tuesday, we closed at a high. Wednesday, barely, but we closed at a high. Thursday, we closed at a high. Friday, we closed at a high. Guys, you know how long it's been since 5 days in a row we closed at highs? This is awesome. It was a great move last week. It was a great trading week last week, right? The only thing I would have liked to have seen was a pullback at some point to the 8. Now, because of this gap, it's going to take a couple of more days for the 8 to catch up because of that gap. That gap skews everything. Now, we are using, you see, EMA, exponential moving averages, up in the top there, EMA in pink or fuchsia or whatever color it is, right? Exponential, which means we put the most emphasis on today, a little bit yet less on yesterday, a little bit less the day before, and so on and so on and so on until we get that 8 days back, right? So the gap is going to start to wean since that happened 6 days ago. It's going to start to wean and ultimately get to a point where it has no real importance whatsoever. Which is very important. Tom said, I've read several sectors have covered their 2025 losses. Yeah, these moves back. I mean, look where we were, down at 48.35 on the market, and now we're at 50. We're 1,000 points higher than we were 2 months ago, month and a half ago. 1,000 points on the S&P, which is only like 15 or 17%, right? That's all. Great move. We had hit the 20% from the all-time high, 52-week high, not all-time high. It is the all-time, but it's the 52-week high we measure off of, not the all-time high. We don't go back 8 years ago and say that was the high and this is the pullback. No, pullback's up the last 52 weeks. So we've had a phenomenal gain, and not just, guys, it wasn't just on the S&P, right? It's on the stocks that Wall Street told us to give up on, like NVIDIA. Right? People were like, no, you're crazy. Sell, sell, sell. Jim Cramer's screaming how bad of a choice it is, how he hates the company at this point. Although he's friends with the CEO, he would never buy it. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it. I remember him on a weekend or as a Saturday, and he was saying the markets are closed, I'd be selling right now. Right? And did it get down there? Without a doubt, guys. Did it give you an opportunity to buy? Yep, sure did. Right? Where your call, right? Did you buy as it broke up, retested, and bounced? There were plenty of places to buy. You would ultimately make that choice of what fits your risk profile, what fits your personal risk tolerance. That's all that matters. That's all I care about. Is it holding off to your risk? Doesn't matter what I would do. Yeah, he stopped talking about his dog named NVIDIA. Exactly, Jennifer. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Let's go back into S&P, which is what this whole segment is about. So guys, right now, this is where, and I'm going to share with you a photo, a screenshot, not a screenshot. I'm going to share with you my chart on S&P. You're going to look at this and go, oh God, I can't even see it. It's too confusing. And I understand. That's my S&P chart, right? We're talking about 2019. You can see it, right? I have every single line drawn for up from 2019, every fib line. We go back a little bit, and this goes back to 2014, right? I have 10 years of Fibonacci levels drawn on the S&P 500. Okay, so let's see. So now, because we have reached above this one line, which is where the fib started, right? I've got to go back and start looking historically at what my previous fibs are, and that will be ideally, it's always going to be the one before this, if at all possible, right? So we're going to go back to that previous fib, and I'm just going to move my mouse right there, right? And set my mouse on it. So Monday, this is Monday right here, right? Actually, let's do this. Close enough. I know I'm off a little bit. Monday, we closed right near there. We gapped up and pulled back a little bit and bounced. You could say off of that level, but maybe not quite off that level, right? Then on Tuesday, we hit it. Wednesday, we hit it, and we chipped away at the ice both days. Thursday, we finally broke through on a close. Friday, we gap up, we retest, and we bounce. Today, we gap down to it, close to it. We stretch down with the wick, and we bounce off it. So when someone says, Rob, you got all those fib levels on there, are they really important? Yes, 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 they are important. Don't delete your previous fibs. Rob, I got a brand new chart. I've never drawn fibs on them before. How do I start? Go back 5 years. Go back 2 years and just start drawing fibs. Wherever you see put an F5 and a function 5, function 6, so 5, 6, 7 months of time up on your screen and draw the most. If you have to go back a little more to catch the beginning of a run, do that on the first one. And then keep scrolling forward, right? Keep scrolling forward. You want to make a game out of it? Turn it into a replay. There's an instant replay button on Omega Charts, right? Replay history, it's called. If you don't know how to use it, reach out to Genesis and they will tell you how to do it. This right here is probably the #1 training tool you should be using. And maybe not per se for drawing fibs, but it should be for going back and historically and saying, should I have taken this trade or not? Right? It is pretty cool. Roman said, I read a comment from a guy who follows Kramer. He said, 6 months, I've been doing opposite what he says and been very successful. Listen, Jim Kramer does not really care for me. He will never remember me. He might remember the scenario where we met, but he's certainly not going to remember my name, my face at all. I got invited to a real estate expo many, many, many years ago. Robert Kiyosaki was speaking. I got to go behind stage. I got to meet Robert Kiyosaki. Again, it was just more of a, hi, how are you? Very nice to meet you. I love your stuff, blah, blah, blah. Right? I know Robert Kiyosaki from Amway days. That's how long ago I've known of Robert Kiyosaki. And another speaker comes walking over and we're talking, and all of a sudden Kramer pops his head on. He's like, who's that over there talking to Robert? And he comes walking over and goes, hey, my name is Jim Kramer. I said, I know who you are, Mr. Kramer. I mean, you're very well known. You know, very nice to meet you. I said, let me ask you a question. Because he said, do you have any questions about the market? I said, yeah, let me ask you a question. So I trade the market. I teach people to trade. I said, how do you feel about a monkey's picks having better results than your picks? And it was true. At the time, they had a monkey picking out of a bucket, and the monkey's results were better than his. And he just turned and walked away. What's he going to do? Argue with me? He's worth millions and has his own TV show. That's not me. I don't have my own TV show, right? But it is true that he's very big on promoting the stocks that have won for him, but not talking about. You're not going to see this. You're not going to see this. Here's every company we've talked about. Here's every single thing for the entire year is right here in Power Option. You're not going to see that, right? There are very few people actually that do stuff like that. Very few, okay? So listen, I like listening to him. I think he's got some good insights, but he's not going to be right all the time. And you don't need to prove that you're right all the time. Here's the thing. If you have the right reward risk ratio, if you're willing to win $2, if you say I have a $2 win and a $1 risk, 10 trades, what do you need? If I win on 4 trades and I make $2 on each one, I'm up $8. That means the other 6 trades went against me, I lost 6. Well, I made 8, I lost 6, I'm positive 2. So you only need a 4 out of 10 win ratio. You don't need to have 7, 8, 9 out of 10 at a 2-to-1 reward risk. If you go 1-to-1, then it becomes a little bit different, right? You need 6 to make money. 6 win, which is you're batting 600, which is definitely a harder number to hit, right? Yeah, okay. There was another comment there. Sorry. Yeah, exactly, Jim. Yep. LOL. So guys, look, this line right now is very important. The 100-point level, I'm sorry, it's a 1,000-point level. It's 6,000 is an important level. I think we might play in there a little bit. Listen, we could break out of there today or tomorrow without question, right? But I think we might play in there a little bit. I do want to break. I do want to hit the 8. I do want to see a bounce, right? And based on where we're at right now, I'd love to be another day or two so the 8 catches up to this fib line, which is a 618 from the previous fib. See how important all this stuff, how the importance of all of these different levels comes to play right now. It's not only a current support. Based on that, it was the 618, which is the most important line in that entire chart. If we can kind of vacillate in here a little bit, come back and retest, break out of the 6,000, but that's not a final break. It's a break, a retest, and a bounce. Unless we get a big enough pullback to redraw, then we're going to reassess everything, because everything changes if we get a new place to draw from. Everything changes for us, okay? So you want to keep your eye on what's going on. I'm a cop show type guy, right? I love SWAT, Blue Bloods, things like that. I was watching one of the SWAT episodes last night, and one of the phrases that they use is "stay liquid," right? And I love the phraseology, "stay liquid," right? For them, they're in very high intense situations. They're the worst of the worst criminals that they're dealing with, right? But and keep your head on a swivel, right? Same thing. Right? Stay liquid. Keep your head on a swivel. Make sure that your liquid is not, I have no cash, I have only cash available. Liquid in this reference is that you can shift from side to side, right? You can make that adjustment quickly. Mr. Miyagi, best block, no be there, right? I love the analogy. The best block is not to be in the way of that punch or kick or whatever it is that's coming, right? Best block, don't be in that trade. And if you are, have a defense mechanism to get out that you don't get hurt too much. Right? And you want to set every single trade up that way, right? So right now, let's give you an exact level here. We're looking at 5,900. We'll call it 59 even because it's $59.81. I could be off. It looks like 51.89 here. 59.0189 is the exact level, right? And you could change that if you wanted to, if you really wanted it to be 5901.89. If you really wanted it to reference exactly on there, we're close enough, right? Where we were. 5,900 is, as far as I'm concerned, is the level. So between 5,900 and 6,000, those are my keys right now. We break the 6,000 without a significant pullback to redraw the fib, and I'm going to be looking at 61.47 as my next upside target. When we look from a shorter, longer time frame, right? Broke right out of this fib, baby. This thing is gone. No need whatsoever. Gone, right? Actually, I think I'm going to redraw the weekly fib. Here's why. We got a great V top in here. Yeah, we had a little V bottom in here. But those of you that took the Fibonacci mastery with me, the long 20 hours plus of fibs that we did, when we have, and man, I don't have a drawing tool without getting crazy on their drawing tools, which I hate. It's nuts to delete these drawing tools off of the screen. It takes a lot of work. When you have a V-top up here, how do I even change color? Let's go to red. If I have a V-top up here, and I had what I call the V-bottom right there, and then a new V-top and a new V-bottom. So if we had this V-top here, and we have this one down here, but in the middle we had this. What is this middle piece called? Does anybody remember what we call that? When that happens, you did not know this was a V-bottom. You did not know this was that pattern. Right, Andres, that's exactly what it is. You did not know that this was that pattern until this V-bottom came in play. Good, Alex. Excellent. Good. A couple of you got it. It's called a hiccup. It's a hiccup. What happened? What happened? How do you delete the stuff? Delete. They're all drawings. Okay. So you got the V top in there and you move down. This really became a sideways move when you look at it. Yeah, it went up a little bit, but it really was a sideways move, right? And we used that to draw, and then we got this big drop down and we move up. So once we get the big drop from here, after this date right here, after, from before that date we drew, after this big drop down and we finally bottom back out again, when you look back historically, you see this pattern in there. And this pattern is in the middle of a run. It's not quite the middle. It's a little bit higher. We came down near the 618, but somewhere between that 618 and 50 is where we see it happen a lot. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that. I can't make that assessment yet because I haven't redrawn. So watch, I'm going to pull forward on this. Okay, I'm going to pull this fib forward just so we don't lose it. And I'm going to redraw this weekly fib from this swing high down to this swing low. And look where the hiccup happened, right between the 60 and the point 618 and the 50, right? But Rob, you didn't know that was going to happen based on this. Exactly. You don't. Well, then why did it do it? Because human emotion looks at this, or the human brain looks at this and realizes where bottoming patterns can form. Based on that, your mind's eye is seeing this, and we see hesitation in the market. We just don't know why. We don't know why. It's a hiccup, folks. That's exactly what it is. It's a hiccup, right? I'm going to delete the old one that's in here. We don't need it any longer. We're going to use this one. So this still gives us a good fib in there. Do I need an 882? Well, I need one for sure to tell me that we might be needing a new place to redraw, right? There's my 882. So we've not bumped our head on it, but we got pretty darn close. 2 weeks rather in a row. And it's really not 2 weeks. It was last week and today, right? Let's go look at a monthly chart and see how the fibs look on there. Okay, let me go back to the weekly. I got to make sure this only shows up on this chart. It says show for all SPX. I don't want that. I just want it on here. Now we'll go to the monthly. Okay. All right. So we've got a good fib in here. We had this pullback and this bounce. We definitely have a place to redraw. These are from what would probably be my dailies, not my weeklies, right? So those are further back midpoint styles that were in there. Not sure where that was. Let's see. What month is that in? That's in January of 24. All right, so all of this, I'm going to edit those and make them not show on other fibs, other charts. I don't want to start assessing, do I really need them or not? I just want them off of my, let's say we got one more. March of 29, let's go look at the daily chart. And I don't want to delete it because if it's important, I don't want to get rid of it. March. Oh, no. All right, I'm not seeing it here. Is it on the weekly? I think it's this. Yeah. Go back to the monthly. Okay, good. So that's all gone. Perfect. All right. I've got an ABC drawn in here. All right. So what was the ABC? We had the move from that swing low up to that swing high, and the pullback to the C, which happened to go just at the 50 percentile. And then what we basically do is we project forward the 0.236, the 0.618, and the 1. So this gives us a stacking method so that when we have that V bottom and that V top, the pullback, whatever the distance between A and B is, whatever that dollar amount is, we're looking for that dollar amount between C and then this 100 percentile, which would be considered D. It's an ABCD move. A to B, from A to B, right, which we have here, and then we extrapolate it C to D inside of here, right? So we have a great move in there. We went right to that 100 percentile and pulled back, right? And that's where our all-time highs are sitting right there at that level, right? Now, the question is going to come down to, do I still need the fib where we are, or do I need a new fib drawn? So let's look. We measure here. I don't need it exact. I just need it to be close. All right, we're going to do the same thing from C up to D. I don't need to get up to the fib itself, just up to the, well, actually, it should be up to the wick, right? So we're looking at 26.55 and 26.32. So yes, we should redraw the fib at this point, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to back this up we're going to get rid of the ABC on the monthly. We do not need that any longer. Right, that's gone. We're going to draw a new fib on the monthly. So all of your charts should be all up to date now on S&P with what we've just gone through. All right, and here we go. All right, here we go. Wunderbar. Perfect. Okay. All right, so we're in a good place right now. Good bounce. All right, overall pattern structure is fine. I like what we're seeing in here. All right, but look at the monthly, guys. We're getting right back up to where we were 4 months ago. Right back near that 61.47 level, which is our all-time high. Okay. Barry said the rise from A to B to be taken as a raw rise difference of the percentage rise difference. I'm not sure if I'm getting it the way you're saying it, Barry. So let me say it this way: the move from A to B is the full move, right? That was from where we started to where we drew the fib. The pullback to the lowest low. And what you don't want in that, folks, is this. I don't want my lowest low to look like this, and then back here, and then back here, and then up here, and then back. That's not this, no, right? If this is the pattern, the answer is no. I'm looking for a move up. This is why I don't like their drawing tools. I'm looking for the move up, the pullback, and the bounce. If I get that, now I've got my raw pullback and my expectation of where we go to next. I am not sure why you can't see it, Evelyn. Hey, Andrew, can you help Evelyn out, please? Thank you. Jim said S&P daily chart. Curious, if you add the 882 and the fib lines 118, 1.236, where's the confluence, the 6,000? So you're talking about on the you said SPX daily. Okay, let's go back and look at that, Jim. Let's go back and look at daily. Okay, so we've got the let me bring it current. All right, so do we have a need here? 55.62, 57.86, 220 points. Yes, we do need it. So we need an 88. We need an 882 in here. The 882 is going to be black. Why is it showing blue? Okay, that's better. I don't know why it was blue. Which is right here. I don't really have an extension in here, Jim. So let's see. Yeah, so I don't know where to draw the 126. I'm sorry, 118 to 1.236. I don't know. I don't have a place to draw them. I could draw levels above this. I just don't trust them. All right. Dennis said, how do you determine your expectation after the pullback of the fibs? Okay, so let's do it this way, Dennis. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to put this over to template number 1 where I have no moving averages on there. All right. So where's my A, my B, and my C? Oh, wait, that was number 2, isn't it? Yeah, that's not what I want. Fib extension. Okay. So we come from number 1, which is the A. B is the lowest low, right? C is the highest high we made before we got a pullback. Right? Once I did that, Dennis, on this Fibonacci tool, which is called Fibonacci extensions, I'll sort by used. The NAs, that's A, B, and C. You can see them, they're labeled A, B, C. Right? I use a 236, a 0.618, and a 1. All right, that's the 3 levels that I use on this. That's all I use. And I leave everything visible. Check marks are on there, which means they're all visible. You can see them all. Okay. So that would then tell me that the pullback from here, 236 would be this level, which we pulled right to. Right. The 618 would be down here, and the -1 would be all the way down here. And I don't want to keep that on there. I'm going to delete that. But Dennis, does that make sense? Kind of? Okay. And we do go into it in depth in the Fibonacci Mastery as well. Barry said 100 to 120 is a rise of 20, but a percentage rise of 20%. C is 110. A rise of 20 would be 130, but 20%. So it's not based on, it's based on initial move, Barry. So if the initial move in here, that is 100%. It doesn't matter what it is. That's a 100% move. And that what I mean by that is that might be $200. I'm making it up, right? Then the expectation, if this becomes my C point, would be a 200-point drop to the downside. We're at 100% is the dollar amount, not the percentage of it. Yes, you are right. As you start going up or down, that percentage would increase or decrease. Right? You wouldn't have 100% to the downside. You might have 80% or 60%. All right. Let's go back there. Get rid of their wonderful drawing tools. Okay. All right, let me bring us back to a daily chart. Oh, we're on a daily. Let's go back to template number 2. 2, please. All right, let's go ahead and I don't need this. Let's cancel that out. Let's go back into our document. All right, so we got Inner Circle check-in coming up this evening, May 19th and June 2nd. The monthly is this Thursday, the 22nd at 8 p.m. That's our 2-hour training. Mastermind is tomorrow night. Monster Market Moves is next week on the 28th. Trading on the 29th. Power option plays, covered call, E-mini are on the regular schedule. Power Hour Training Coaches Playbook are as well. Are they? Isn't Monday a holiday? Is Monday Memorial Day? Yeah, so Andrew, we got to take a look at that. Monday is a holiday. 5/26. So there will be none on Monday. Let's see. I'll tell you all right now so you know. We will be doing it on Tuesday the 27th. Andrew, make a note of that. Get that to Sean and the rest of the team. That the 26th we're closed. 28th of May is a Wednesday, Jennifer. Yeah. So we're doing it on the 27th, which is a Tuesday. Yeah, we always do it the next day. I just had to look to see if I had any appointments that day. All right, let's keep going. Oh, outperform the S&P, guys. This is Mr. Dale Zamzo. We got him to come back again. Dale is just very busy with grandkids these days, so it's harder to get him to come in and teach some of these classes. So he's coming in on how to outperform the S&P 500. Every one of you should be interested in how we do that. How do we consistently stay above what the S&P 500 is doing, right? And not only Dale's the only person that can stand up there and tell. And if Dale says to you, "I guarantee it's going to outperform the S&P," he's right. He's the only person that can legally say it. I can't, but Dale can, right? Yep. And Andrew just dropped the link in there so you can grab it. All right. Weekly training topic. What is the heading where the new core classes are under? It's on free online workshops. Is that what you mean, Patty? No, Jennifer, the 27th of May is a Tuesday, noon Eastern is when we're going to be doing that. Oh, I don't remember, Patty, what it's called. I'm not logged into the website right now. Andrew, help Patty with that question, please. She's asking where we're putting the new day trading trainings that I'm doing. You're welcome, Patty. Yeah, he'll get you helped out with that. I had Dale as an instructor way back when for a 2-day class. He's excellent. Yeah, he's an amazing coach. He was one of my coaches. He taught me how to teach. And Dale's a teacher. He was who's who of teachers a couple of times, 3 or 4 times he won that award as who's who of teachers. Right? Weekly training topic. Protecting your assets. Right? And I love the way they did it. Protecting your assets. Guys, there are things you can do to protect your assets. And what I mean by that is there are trading systems, styles, strategies, whatever you want to call it, that you actually can incorporate. One of the things you can do is, let's say you just own a stock. If you're concerned that stock is going down, you can buy a protective put. You can buy a put option on that position. Now, that does not mean that if the market goes down, you make money or you don't lose anything. It doesn't cost you anything. That's not a true statement. It will still cost you something. Unless you bought a very deep in the money option, which you're paying through the nose for, which we don't do that on insurance. You'd be the person that says, I want a zero deductible. Okay, great. So your house insurance with a $500 deductible is $3,000. With a $1,000 deductible is $2,000. With no deductible is $8,000. It's not worth it, right? Or to me, it's not worth it. You have to make the decision if it is for you or not. To me, it's not worth it. That's why most people settle on that $500 or $1,000 deductible, house, car, whatever it is, right? But when you buy an option, and I teach this strategy inside of our inner circle, when you go ahead and if you take a mutual fund, I don't like that color. Not for this. Let's get black. So if you had a mutual fund, one of the things that I teach, and again, this is all predicated on your risk and you working with your portfolio manager and your, financial planner and all of that, is I would get rid of mutual funds and I would buy BTO, just buy it to open SPY. It's a big part of my portfolio is SPY. Okay. So you buy, it's not X, it's a Y, right? Please just bear with my pen drawing here. It's SPY. Okay. Then what you do is you can write covered calls on the SPY monthly, or you can go very far out and write a 12-month covered call, right? Once you do, what are you going to get? Money. They're going to pay you. You take that money and you buy a put. And what you've done here is you bought a stock, you wrote a covered call, and you bought a protective put. If you do this strategy and you do it the way that I teach it in Inner Circle, when the market drops 30, 40%, 50%, which we have seen in recent years, in the recent drops we've seen, 99, 2008, right, 21, we've seen those 30, 40, 50% drops. When you get that kind of drop on this SPY strategy, you might be looking at 8 to 20%, depending on how big the pullback was in the market, right? So you're still going to have a hit, but nowhere near what you would have. Why? Because the value of your SPY goes down. The covered call loses its value. Who cares? You got paid for that. The put goes up in value and it offsets what the SPY did, but it's not 100 delta. So the SPY goes down $10 and you have a 40 delta, as an example. If the SPY goes down $10, easier math, and you got a 40 delta, the put's going to go up $4. So you're still going to have a loss in that trade or a cost in that trade, but not to the same level as you would if you did not have these kind of mechanisms around this, right? And this is Mark Cuban. When he sold his company off for $6 billion, Yahoo bought it. They forced him into Yahoo stock and when the market was near all-time highs as the buyout, a big portion of what he took. His financial advisor came up with this strategy, which is called a collar. You're putting a collar around the stock. It's up and down, right? You do have limiting factors in there, how much you can make versus how much you risk as well, but there are some limitations in there. And you run the risk of your position getting taken away at a higher price, okay? And if you're worried about capital gains, just move to Texas or open a Texas entity and put it there because Governor Abbott just signed a document that says no more capital gains in the state of Texas. I don't know how that's going to work, but I love that, right? I love that everybody's talking about no taxes anymore. I just wonder how we're going to pay for all these government officials. Okay. But you can do things like this. What I will tell you is this. One of the best things you can do, delete, clear, thank you. And again, I got to click on the mouse. Okay. One of the best things you can do is go into Dale's training. Dale's going to be talking about strategies to outperform the S&P. Bottom line is you need to minimize your risk and maximize your gain on any trade that you're in. This is assets. This is not, I'm not worried about the cash in your account. There's a whole different ball of wax there. I got $1 million in an account and it's just sitting in cash. I'm safe. Yes, you are. It's not, you can't risk any of that money. It's sitting in cash and they're paying you a whopping 1/4 of 1%. That's great and fine and good. It's costing you 3% a year just to leave it sit there. You're losing 3% of the asset just because it sits, right? There are things that you should and can be doing with those monies, right? And having the right financial advisor. And go look at, again, I don't know the most recent book. Tony Robbins, he's got his most recent book on finance, talks about alternative investments. You know, if y'all are not in things like Bitcoin, and I'm not saying today is the day, right? But if you look at Bitcoin, $105,000 per coin, right? Granted, it was up here at 107. You go back a little bit further, we go back to 5 years, we were down under 20, 16,000, right? Is where we were, okay? And now we're at 105. So the Holy Grail of Investing, thank you, Trip. That's the name of the book, The Holy Grail of Investing. Also, every penny of the proceeds gets given away. But guys, 105, and I'm not saying today is the day, right? If any of you know who Kathy Woods is, Kathy Woods just came out on CNBC. She talked about Tesla and made the comment. I said it. If you don't like Tesla or not, it doesn't matter. If you're into making money, it's, you know, $2,900 is expected by 2030. Okay, because of, you know, multiple reasons. She talks about Bitcoin, and she was asked, what's the company ARK Investing or ARK Financial? What's the company's position on it? Do you still see it hitting $500,000, $700,000? She said, yes. It's only 1 million coin left to be mined, and then that's it. Every coin will be out there. You will not have more. If you want to buy it, someone's got to be willing to sell it. Period. And again, I'm not saying Bitcoin is the right one. I'm not saying it's right for you. What I'm saying is you need to look at non-correlated investments that you can do. I mentioned today, of course, we talked stock market. I mentioned property today, right? Buying houses. I'm talking about Bitcoin. They're uncorrelated investments, right? Can Bitcoin crash if the market crashes? Yes. Gold is another quasi-uncorrelated investment. And there are even more. Owning your own business, uncorrelated investment, right? Stupid businesses that make ridiculous money. If you know what you're doing, the plumbing industry right now is probably one of the top paying trades in the United States right now. What employees are getting paid and how much people are charging because they just can't get them. We are short the amount of plumbers that we need, and we don't do vocational school very good any longer. Teaching people how to do this. I took every vocational thing we had in high school because that's what I was, a shop guy. Plumbing wasn't one of them. They didn't have that. I took electrical, I took auto, I took wood, I took metal, I took drafting, I took them all, whatever they had, right? Kathy Woods, ARK Investments. Yeah, that's it, Jennifer. That's who. How do you know which type of Bitcoin to buy? Well, so I go on Robinhood. I do it on Robinhood. Is there better places to buy it? Probably. Robinhood is just the easiest one for me. I'm not worried if I'm off a little bit, that I lose a little bit in cost and this and that. I don't have the time to really dig in on the best wallets and all of that garbage. But you know, Bitcoin's at 105,000, and let's just say this: my biggest move ever in a position was on Bitcoin, and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I bought my very first Bitcoin at $1,200, and I bought it because a friend called me and said, "Buy it now." And it took me 2.5 hours to set everything up to be able to pay with a credit card and be able to buy it tonight. I said, how do I sell it? He said, sell it. Why would you want to sell it? Well, how do I get out? Nah, man, we don't get out. We're just holding on. So, and I've been in it since then too. So you just don't understand how it works. Yeah, Brenda, there's so much trainings out there on it. I mean, maybe we'll do something on it one day. We'll give a brief overview on Bitcoin. You know, maybe we'll do something like that. But it's another currency, or it's like a currency, but it's just another stock that you're buying. And if you don't want to buy the actual coin, then go and look at buying some of the ETFs that are out there. There were about 15 or so. I haven't checked them since, but when they first came out, there were about 15 ETFs. Personally, I am a Bitcoin and Ethereum. I don't know how to spell it. Ethereum. There we go. Ethereum investor. That's me. Right? You go look at 5 years on Ethereum. We were down here at a few $100, $200, and now it's at 2,500. Were we higher? Sure, we were higher. Ethereum's a newer coin. doesn't have a limitation on how many you can have, right? It's a second or third gen coin. All right, what stocks do you want to take a look at, guys? Go ahead and drop them in. All right, SPY, QQQ. Let's go here. Let me go and bring up all symbols so I can capture the pivot I can see easily. SPY. We're in the same boat that we are in the S&P 500. We're going to rely on the previous fibs. So we got that 600-ish level as our next upside target, where the downside is going to be that 590, 590, no, it's not it. Yeah, we'll call it 590, close enough. 589 is the next downside target. QQQ. Uh-oh, okay, there we go. All right. So we pushed down to the negative 809. We bounced. All right, we did get a close below the 618. So could we use a redraw? Yeah, but we just don't have one yet. So, but we're back in a good range now. I love, and I mean love, how we bounced today. I just wish the 8 moving average was a little bit higher and the stock was a little bit lower. We had a shaved bottom, so very little, if any, wick today. Our low was 514.24 and our open was 514. So we opened at the bottom. It's called the shaved bottom, right? We opened right at the low of the day. We bounced and we're at what looks like could be close to a shaved top. We're just getting a little wick every once in a while popping up in there. Excuse me. So downside 512, upside 523. Let's see, 23 to 40 is 17. We don't need a fib in there. The next upside would be the 541 level. All right. I hope that helped, Brenda. Let's go look at BAC. All right. Looks, there we go. No fib on it because it's not one that I normally trade. So if we draw the fib here, this one violated. We draw it here, we've already broken back up above the 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a fib here. And we're going to draw a fib here. So right now, 45 is, that's why we're seeing all this resistance from back here. And then 47 is our next upside target from there. Hope that helps, Dennis. How we doing, Henry? Big airplane. Let's see what's going on with BA. Great run. Pullback is nice, just not enough yet. So we got to work off that previous fib. So this one, I'm going to pull it forward a little bit, but I don't want to go too much forward. So right now, that 200 is the downside. Now, Henry, I love where this one's headed. Again, if we can get that pullback to the $200 level and bounce, it's beautiful because I got a fib line there, the 199.89. I've got a 100-point level there, 200, and I've got the 8 moving average there. It's 3 key levels all confluence together. If we bounce off of that, we're looking at 210.5 as resistance, and lo and behold, we've been there already, right here. Close enough to it, right? 209.5. Definitely close enough. Let's see. Alex is asking for GE. Same thing, guys. And we're just in the market we're in, we're just rocking and rolling. We're just running straight up. Nothing we can do. We've got that 233 as resistance. We blew through it today. 233, 249 is 16. All right, we need a fib in there. So let's put a negative 809. Okay, so upside on this one, Alex, is 241. Downside will be that 233. If we break that, 224. Right in there. MSTR. Right, MSTR is showing signs of weakness in there. Is it enough? I don't know. Let's see. I want the pullback near the 236. We got pretty close, so yeah, we'll leave that in there. Let's see, 385 to 430, 30 and 1646, 42. We need to split this. So let's put a negative 136 and a 118. Okay. So 407 is our support. 430 is our resistance on this one. Jennifer said I'm up $1,832 currently on MSTR. 1920 now. There you go. Congrats. Congrats. That's excellent. Good, Alex. I'm glad you found the same levels as me. Jim said, big airplane last week. Trump got in Middle East countries to commit to buy a lot of airplanes. Stock should rise in the future. Yeah, I saw that they were gonna. There was no ink on the paper on it yet. It was all verbal. But if the Middle East wants Trump support, they're gonna come through. And this is whether you call it legalized bribery or whatever you want to call it. He's getting investments in this country, and that's all I really care about. Right? If Apple builds more plants here because of the threat that they're going to pay more in tariffs, so be it. I don't care. Just build your plants here. I've never understood why we, as the world leader in so many things, have farmed out some of our major technology, our secrets that should never go anywhere else. But you can't tell me that other countries haven't stolen some of the stuff that we've done. The Art of the Deal. There you go. Exactly. The Art of the Deal. Good book. And he is the deal. He's the deal maker. I watched one person came up on social media, TikTok, and she said, well, let me tell you what the president did yesterday and today. And she lists off 12 different things. And she goes, and my husband can't even get the lawn mowed, which her point was, look at how much he's getting accomplished. And you don't really hear about it. If you want to see what he's really doing, you really have to dig for it. You got to go look for it. But it doesn't matter. You know how you know what he's doing? Because mainstream media can't go out there and badmouth it, because look what's happened, folks. We're just seeing this rock and roll take place, right? And be very careful who you listen to. Me, anybody, just make your own assessment. But if you've got a product that someone's selling in Asia and it costs them $1 to leave China, right? And by the time it gets to the US, it's a $100 product. You're not seeing 150% markup on this. That markup comes out of here. Now, will you get some markups along the way? Yes. But that's why companies like Ford have been able to drop prices with tariffs in place. Because it's hitting parts. It's not hitting the whole thing. It's hitting the retail that comes out of that country. Sorry. I think every time I hit escape that it just goes away, and it doesn't. You're good, Patty. I'm glad he was able to help you. China requires that a company with a factory in China to put a research center there too. Then China gets all the company's new research. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So listen, I don't want the U.S. government to do that. I do want the U.S. government to have, I want the U.S. to have more independence here. Guys, when I was in manufacturing, I'll let you go after this. When I was in manufacturing, we made a lot of carts for Home Depot. You know, those big orange carts. It's got the lumber carts. It's got the orange handle on it. It's a flatbed. Or even the ones that have the rails on that you put sheetrock in and stack lumber up on. We used to buy those from China. The base was made. The handle was made. It wasn't welded in. The wheels were not on. We would bring it to the factory in containers. We would take them out. We would weld the handles in, spray paint the orange on the weld. We would flip it over and put on wheels, which I guess we did that first. But we put on wheels, then the handle. And it was cheaper to do that than it was to make it in the US, even with all the shipping and everything else, right? We shouldn't have to make that stuff over in other countries. We should be able to make it right here. Excellent. All right, everybody. Hey, Andrew dropped some links in there to Dale's training. Go ahead and jump in there and take advantage of that, everyone. With that, have a great rest of your day. God bless. And I will see you all at our very next update, folks. Take care, and I will see you then. Bye for now.